All right, everyone, it is 6 o'clock. We'll now come to order. Anna, if you'll help with the roll call, please.
Mayor Holland?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Finch?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Musser?
Here.
And Commissioner Vogel? Here.
At this time, I'd like to call to the podium Pastor Clay Olson from Chapel by the Sea to lead us in our invocational prayer.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to say on behalf of Chapel by the Sea, we have so appreciated our working relationship over the many, many years with the town. We've served together, served the community, and done a lot of interesting things together, and we have appreciated it so much. It's been many, many years, actually. Actually, when we started this, I had hair. Well, more of it than now. As they say, the waves are still there, but the beach is getting bigger. Just happens that way, right? But we do appreciate the administration, police, fire, and rescue. God bless you. Y'all are great. You serve our community so well, and we thank you, and we thank the Lord for you so much. So God bless you all in your service. All right, well, it's a privilege to pray together with you tonight. So let's honor the King as we pray together. Thank you. Oh God, our Creator and Redeemer, we thank you for your daily grace and for your mercies that are new each morning. We thank you that you are our refuge and strength and our present help in time of need. And since we are a needy people and are ever in need of your guidance, we now pray for your continued guidance for those who watch over us. We thank you for those, each of our town departments, who give of themselves in such great service for us all in this blessed community. We thank you for our town leaders. We know that your word says that a man plans his ways, but the Lord directs his steps. And so we thank you for directing our leaders in their steps and in their vision and in their decisions and in their own personal and family lives. We know, Lord, in reality, there's really no distinction between the sacred and the secular, only between faithful and unfaithful, between honoring you or dishonoring you. And we thank you that our town leaders are those who seek to honor you. And so we pray for your sufficient grace for their own needs as they oversee the needs of this special community of Emerald Isle. We also know that what we do matters for both time and eternity. Our words and our deeds have ripple effects that set into motion things that change lives both now and forever. So in knowing the importance of what we do, we pray for your encouragement in the daily tasks that our town leaders do for others, for they always matter. They will also be rewarded, as you have promised to reward your people for every good thing that honored you and blessed others. For whatever we do as unto the Lord is promised reward. So may we each live each day in homage to you and in service to others. As we make our duty to you be our delight, well, then we can find joy in all things. For duty belongs to us, and results belong to you, our God. And so we thank you and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor Clay. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all you do in our community. We really appreciate it. Everyone will please stand and face our flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next order of business on the agenda will be the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt? So moved. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. I have a few public announcements we'd like to make. Ooh. There we go. Friday, oh, there it goes again. Friday Flea Flick, Chicken Run, Friday, May 13th at 6 p.m. in our community center. Who's in control back there? All right, thank you. Story time and pre-K play is Monday, 9 a.m. at the community center. Our next golf cart advisory committee meeting will be held May 17th at 5:30 in the town boardroom. Our next planning board meeting will be held May 23rd at 6 p.m. in the town boardroom. Coffee with a Cop will be held May 26th at 9 a.m. in the town boardroom. Our offices will be closed, our administrative offices will be closed Memorial Day, May 30th. Also, the community center will be closed May 30th. Our next neighborhood watch board meeting will be held Tuesday, June 7th at 6 p.m. in the town boardroom. And our next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held June 14th at 6 p.m. here in the town boardroom. All right, we have a few proclamations that we want to take care of tonight. First off, invite up Carl Rauschenberg with the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Feels like it was just a couple of days ago when I saw you. Carl was just over at the house doing the Coast Guard inspection for my boat, making sure that it was safe and ready to move forward.
Which he does every year, by the way.
Yes, sir. And what is it, Carl? The auxiliary second Saturday of every month? You guys are down at the boat ramp doing these?
Third Saturday.
Third Saturday, I stand corrected. The third Saturday of every month down at the boat ramp beside Chapel by the Sea, you can get a free boat safety inspection from the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. This proclamation is for National Safe Boating Week, quote unquote, wear it. May 21st through 27th, 2022. For nearly 90 million Americans, boating continues to be a popular recreational activity. From coast to coast and everywhere in between, people are taking to the water and enjoying time together boating, sailing, paddling, and fishing. During National Safe Boating Week, we want to bring special attention to this pastime and remind recreational boaters of a few tips to ensure that they and their loved ones are safe and responsible while exploring our nation's waterways. Proper planning for a day of boating begins even before leaving home. Getting a free safety vessel check and taking a safe boating course at the beginning of the boating season, filing a float plan with a trusted family member or friend, and checking the weather before boating are key steps to an enjoyable boating time. Every boater should wear a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket at all times while boating. Drowning remains the #1 cause for death for recreational boaters each year, and the majority of drowning victims in recreational boating accidents are not wearing a life jacket. Safe and responsible boating includes never operating a boat while under the influence of drugs or alcohol and knowing basic navigation rules. Year-round, people continue to enjoy all that our environment has to offer through the joy of boating. National Safe Boating Week is observed to bring the attention to important life-saving tips for recreational boaters so they can have a safer, more fun experience out on the water. Whereas, on average, 650 people die each year in boating-related accidents in the U.S., approximately 3/4 of those fatalities are caused by drowning. And whereas the vast majority of these accidents are caused by human error or poor judgment and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors. Whereas a significant number of boaters who lose their lives by drowning each year would be alive today had they worn their life jackets. And whereas today's life jackets are more comfortable, more attractive, and more wearable than styles of years past. Now, therefore, I, Jason Holland, Mayor of Emerald Isle, hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through the 27th, 2022, as National Safe Boating Week in Emerald Isle and the start of a year-round effort to promote safe boating. I urge all those who boat to wear it and practice safe boating habits. Proclaim this 10th day of May, 2022. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The other thing I want to mention too, Jason, not only get this boat checked every year, his boys wear their jackets. So, again, thank you.
Safety first. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Carl. Our next proclamation will recognize National Police Week. Respect, honor, and remember. Chief Panzarella, if you and your team would be so kind as to join me. Thank you all for coming. This proclamation is for National Police Week. Respect, honor, and remember, May 15th through 21st, 2022. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Police Week, whereas the members of the law enforcement play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the town of Emerald Isle, and where it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement officers, and whereas the men and women of law enforcement department of the town of Emerald Isle serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protect them against violence and disorder, and provide a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Jason Holland, Mayor of Emerald Isle, do hereby recognize the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022, as National Police Week in the town of Emerald Isle, and urge all citizens to recognize these officers' faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities. Proclaim this 10th day of May, 2022. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies of law enforcement. We really appreciate you guys very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do we have any Public Works representatives with us today? No, sir. All right. This proclamation is for National Public Works Week, Ready and Resilient. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the town of Emerald Isle. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the town of Emerald Isle to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest in the understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now resolved, I, Jason Holland, Mayor of the town of Emerald Isle, do hereby designate the week of May 15th through 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies and activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the state, proclaim this 10th day of May, 2022. Thank you, Public Works. Yeah, well, there's my EMS guys. Do we have EMS reps in the house tonight? Just fire, okay. One more by myself. This proclamation is for Emergency Medical Services Week, Rising to the Challenge. Whereas North Carolina's emergency medical services system is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical services team are ready to provide life-sustaining care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas over the years, the quality of emergency care has dramatically improved the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas our citizens benefit daily from the dedicated efforts, knowledge, and skills of the emergency medical team, career or volunteer, technicians, paramedics, emergency nurses, emergency physicians, rescue squad workers, firefighters, public safety telecommunicators, public information, education and relations specialists, emergency vehicle maintenance technicians, administrators, educators, disaster response personnel, and others who receive specialized training and continuing education to enhance and they're maintaining their life-saving skills. Whereas injury prevention, public education, and the appropriate use of emergency medical services system will help reduce healthcare costs. And whereas to recognize the value and accomplishments of the emergency medical services team, we set aside a special period to observe the contributions of these men and women to our people here in Emerald Isle and the state of North Carolina. Now, therefore, I, Jason Holland, Mayor of the town of Emerald Isle, do hereby proclaim May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Emerald Isle, and calls upon all citizens to observe this period with appropriate programs and activities. Program this 10th day of May, 2022. Thank you, emergency services professionals. All right, next up on our agenda is item number 7, for the board to consider the appointment of a commissioner to fill a vacated seat until the November 2023 election. I'll open the floor to the board for discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could I, before we do this, could I have a few minutes?
Yes, sir. It's a board discussion. Yes, sir.
Something has been troubling me for a long, long time, and I have decided tonight is the time I need to talk about it. It's about our beach commission and how disrespectful our county commissioners have been to our beach commission. And I need to regress just a little bit so this story will come together. I'll regress back to 2014. We lost a fantastic lady and a fantastic commissioner in Nita Hadreen. And we were faced at that time with the same thing we're faced with now to replace that individual. And we replaced Nita with Jim Normile, who had been on the planning board for 6 years prior, and agreed to serve her term out. He was since elected twice since then. And during that time, this board appointed Jim to the Beach Commission. And at some time later, he was appointed chairman of the Beach Commission. And being chairman of the Beach Commission, he decided not to run for re-election to this board again because he wanted to devote his time to the Beach Commission. Sometime after that, Rudy resigned. Reasons we don't know. He may have known something that we didn't know. I don't know. But anyway, instead of hiring an interim, Jim being chairman, he agreed to take over the day-by-day duties until they could find a replacement. And the search for the replacement was successful. They found a super qualified individual. All the right degrees, experience, just outstanding. The bylaws of the Beach Commission give the Beach Commission authority to hire a shore protection officer. And they voted to hire this individual unanimously. Jim, being chairman, took this information to our county commissioners to get their blessing. They basically pushed it back to him and told him it didn't matter what the beach commission wanted, that they were going to hire somebody that they wanted. And they did. There may be a name for what I'm fixing to say, but I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to call it the good old boy politics. When this happened, 3 of the beach commission board members resigned immediately. And our county commissioners immediately appointed a local prominent businessman to fill Jim's seat, because he was dismissed, not at that meeting, but sometime later he was dismissed without any reason and without any notification. And to this day, no one from the county commissioners or the county offices has informed Jim of his dismissal. He heard it from a friend of his that called him to tell him that he was sorry about what the commission had done, and he didn't know anything about it. The local businessman they appointed to replace Jim, he accepted, and in just a few days found out what the story was, and immediately he resigned. I've been told that when one of the commissioners was asked what was going on, he made the statement that, well, they just thought the beach commission needed a new direction. Now, no county money has ever put any sand on that beach out there. It's all from occupancy tax and waterfront tax zones. But yet they seem to want to take control of the beach commission. I'm almost finished. I've been involved in municipal politics for 21 years. And this is absolutely the worst case of abuse of power that I have ever witnessed. And I appreciate your attention. It's just something I thought our citizens needed to know. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Floyd. We will continue to have the open discussion regarding item number 7, to consider the appointment of a commissioner to fill a vacated seat until the November 23rd election. I'll give it back to the board for discussion on that appointment.
Mr. Mayor, I'd love to.
Other side.
Got it. I have a couple comments, Mayor, if that's okay.
Sure.
Can everyone hear me? So first comment is, I will say that there were a handful of names that were put in front of me, and maybe some of you others sitting up here tonight, and I can't tell you how happy that makes me that more than 2 or 3 people in the community wanted to step up to take this seat. And I hope that energy continues, as we go forward. There'll be another election. But that just gave me great pride that people felt that strongly about that seat and wanted to really step up. So I just wanted to put that comment out there before we get started.
Agreed.
And I would encourage these people that have expressed an interest in it. We're going to have another election November of 23, and there are going to be some seats available. And I would encourage you to file and run.
Any other discussion from the board?
I'd like to make a comment, follow up what Jamie had mentioned, that I received a couple phone calls and emails from individuals that wanted to step up and take this seat that's been vacant now. And again, I want to thank you for stepping up, and hope to see you in another year or so, and hope you continue that same interest.
And I'll add on to that, Steve, before we move on. You know, that gives us a responsibility to talk to constituents in the community about what's going to be best for Emerald Isle for that seat until the November 2023 election and moving into the future. And I know I talked to a lot of folks out in the community to get their take on some of the folks who put their name into the hat, because as much as it's a board decision, this decision is about the constituents and what's best for the town.
Thank you, Jamie. Any other discussion from the board?
I just, you know, they took the wind out, but that's exactly what I was wanting to say is, it's amazing when you're sitting here and you're trying to make the best decision you can possibly make for Emerald Isle. And, you know, we're all human up here trying to figure out what would be the best thing to do. But it sure is a nice feeling when there was 4 or 5 people that showed interest in it, and all 4 or 5 people were highly qualified and could do a great job for the town. So it's nice to know that that we're well supported as far as the positions out there and stuff. So I can't say enough. It does kind of recharges your batteries a little bit when you see people wanting to get up here and kind of be the point of the pencil there for a little bit. So it's thank you for stepping forward. You know who you are, and I second that. When the election comes around, you know, get out there and vote, and I'll remember who you were when you want to step up and help, and, you know, I'll try to support you in any way I can for the election process.
Thank you, Mark.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd love to make a motion to appoint Jim Normile to fill the unexpired term until the November 2023 election.
Motion to appoint Jim Normile to fill unexpired term until the November 2023 election is on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed to appoint Jim Normile to fill an unexpired term until the November 2023 election. I'd like to congratulate Jim, and I'd also like to personally thank everybody that reached out to me with their desires to serve our town in that capacity. I was honored to review your qualifications. I was honored to share your desires with our board, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next year when the election rolls back around. Lost my mic. Hello. All right. All right. Item number 8. Item number 8 will be our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Item number 9 will be our public comment. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. I noticed we had some sign-ups already. When your name is called, if you would, please come to the podium. We'll have a microphone up there for you. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to items not on the agenda tonight to 3 minutes, please.
First, we have Ronnie Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Board of Commissioners. Steve Matthews and myself would like to apply for the 21st Annual Beach Music Festival. You think we'd be able to get a permit? I don't hear no yeses, but it was good. What I wanted to say tonight is something, I want to thank all of you for letting me speak tonight, that the Holiday Travel Park, sometimes the gate is like a magnet, and you hear all kind of comments and stuff. But something that that concerns a lot of people here, and you might not hear it, but because they might not be coming to you and they might not say anything to you. But you know, Emerald Isle, of course, it was bought in 1954 by, really it was 5 men. I'm not trying to give you a history lesson, but 5 men, and of course Bob Holden gave 3 of the 3 sevenths to his sons. And it's a special place, as we all know. My daddy brought me here in 1958 fishing, stopped at the Emerald Isle Fishing Pier. And I said, whoa, why are we here? And I'm 14 years old. But he liked to fish and do things like that. Then, of course, you know, Emerald Isle was incorporated in 1957. It's the same size now as it was 50, 60 years ago. Same identical size. A lot of people don't know how it got its name. And I don't know if you do, but I do. Bill McLean and George Spell were flying in a little B-52, or not B-52, a 150 Cessna, and it was flying over the island. And it looked like an emerald from the sky. And they named it Emerald Isle. And I thought my daddy, you know, when we started building the Sandra D Motel in 1960, that's when we had the ferry. And I thought he'd lost his mind. I said, why have you brought me here? And when we moved here, it wasn't but 10 people living on the island. Of course, we got a lot more now. And as you very well know, I mean, it's the same size now as it was, like I say, 100 years ago. Emerald Isle is the same size. But what I hear from some of the business people in Emerald Isle is they would like to see the commissioners, staff, just come to them and say, how you doing? This is who I am. Shake their hands and say, what can I do for you? And I think we've lost the personal touch. Everything is computerized now. I mean, this is the best and worst thing ever invented because we lose the personal touch. And the young kids are losing the personal touch. But I think you as commissioners and staff, just go around. I mean, I don't care whether it's a coffee shop or whether it's food line manager or who it is. Go meet them and shake their hands. And I've heard this too. They don't want to see you at election time. They want to see you all between the time. And I think we lose that. And I hope that you will consider doing that and think about it because they really appreciate you coming by. Like I say, not during election time, but right now. And I got about 35 more minutes. Am I okay, Floyd? No, but no, but I just want to thank you for letting me speak. I could tell you a lot more, but like I say, I thought my daddy had lost his mind when he brought me here. But he's looking down now. He said, "Boy, what did I tell you?" And he loved this place, and I appreciate you letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you for your words. Very well said.
Next, we have John Lister.
I'll yield my comments. Thanks so much.
All right. Jill Pitko. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Jill Pitko, and I live on Hickory Street. And I've lived here 9 years, and I've raised my daughter, who is 8. I've raised her here on Emerald Isle. And what do we love to do on Emerald Isle? We love to go to the beach. So, of course, we're on the Sound side, and we need to get to the ocean side. And, of course, we swim in the Sound, of course. But we need to cross Emerald Drive and Highway 58. And we find that most times, especially when it gets summertime, it's very hard to cross the street. So I'm managing my daughter, my dog, my beach equipment, and we're literally running, sprinting across the street to try to get to the Lee Street access of the ocean. So what I propose is that the town of Emerald Isle goes to a 35 mile per hour on Highway 58. Now, I know that's a state road, and we may or may not have jurisdiction over that, but if there's some way that you can advise me to complain to the state, to petition the state, I'm sure a lot of the businesses up and down throughout the whole town would love to have 35 miles per hour so that they can, patron their businesses. And of course, it's safety, and have safety obviously of paramount in my mind when I'm trying to cross the street, and oftentimes just lingering in that middle section, just, dodging traffic, and it's not the best thing. And even up towards, flip-flops and the mobile park there, I know they have the flashing lights there at the crosswalk, but people who are going 45 miles an hour, they barely see those lights, and they're screeching on brakes, and it's very hard to stop or slow down when you're going 45 miles an hour. So to give the drivers a chance to allow the people to pass the road 35 miles per hour, I think would be the best thing. So if you could advise me what to do, and I could get a petition, I could do whatever you need to do to spearhead this effort. But the rest of the island has gone 35, and I lament it just as much as everyone else. When I was driving my daughter to Tiller School at Beaufort, so I was driving up the island, and when everybody, Pine Knoll Shores, Atlantic Beach, when they started to go 35 miles per hour, the whole year round, I did lament that we had to go slower, but I think it's a move that we should all make, and I think the rest of the island should make it. And so 35 miles an hour. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments.
And we have Pastor Clay Olson on, if that is correct. That might have been from earlier. So I believe we have concluded those who are on our list.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 10, I'd like to invite up to the podium Ocean Rescue Coordinator Billy Mathias for lifeguard introductions and the ocean rescue overview.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. Prior to the pandemic that we were hopefully coming out of now, we had our lifeguard division coming up in front of introducing them to the Board of Commissioners, but also to the community and those that support us greatly. So tonight we're lucky enough to have some of those returner lifeguards, and we also have one of our first-year guards who gets to be out on the beach strand with me tomorrow and get broke in with some training starting tomorrow. But these guards that I'm about to call up spend multiple seasons here with us at Emerald Isle, and over the past 2 seasons have experienced those 58-degree waters that we started training in the end of March. So they put in a lot of effort. They love what they do. They love Emerald Isle. They continue to come back, and I couldn't do it without them. So please just know that when they are out there putting their lives on the line, they are doing everything because they love this community. The first one I'd like to recognize is Kenzie. Kenzie is 6th season with us. She handles everything that I let fall through the cracks and some extra that I forget about completely. She is a special education teacher in Onslow County. Annie is a 2nd-year guard with us. She is currently enrolled in Idaho State and is going to study nursing. Savannah, this is her 3rd season. She is a science teacher currently in Craven County Schools. Bryce. Bryce is the 1st-year guard with us. He just applied a couple months ago. I'm excited to get him. He goes to school at ECU and is studying criminal justice. Brigade, apologies. He's 7 foot tall, 2nd season. He works at a ski rescue resort, correct? And during his off season. So not only does he do ocean rescue in the summertime, he does ski rescue in the wintertime, and I believe Vermont. So Reed, 3rd season with us. He currently attends William Peace University, right? He is studying sports fitness. Russell's with us. This is his 2nd season. He works at the Windjammer and mates on a parasail boat. This guy loves the water. You want to talk about somebody who speaks with the community out there, that would be Russ, anytime he's out there on the beach strand. And we do have 12 guards in total that cannot attend either through their full-time jobs or still finishing up school. We do look to have about 4 in training this upcoming week with 2 positions we're still looking to fill. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Billy, if I could invite you and your team up front there, I have a proclamation for you guys as well.
Gotta stand up. That wasn't part of the deal.
Oh, I'll put you on the spot. I'm not scared. No, that's important. There we go.
How tall is he?
Right. Thank God he left his shoes at home. There we go. All right, this proclamation is for National Beach Safety Week, May 23rd through the 30th, 2022. Whereas the beautiful coast and inland beaches of Emerald Isle represent a world-renowned recreational resource, and whereas Emerald Isle's residents and visitors alike are drawn to these beaches by the millions each year for water and beach activities, and whereas the aquatic environment has dangers, particularly rip currents, that can be effectively managed through public awareness and the vigilance of professional lifeguards, and whereas for the reasons of public safety, an annual reminder of the joys and hazards associated with the aquatic environment are appropriate at the commencement of the busy summer beach season. And whereas Emerald Isle's residents and visitors alike must remember, swim near a lifeguard, learn to swim, learn rip current safety, never swim alone, designate a water watcher, alcohol and water don't mix, feet first water entry, life jackets save lives, observe signs and flags, and beat the heat and block the sun. Now, therefore, I, Jason Holland, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Emerald Isle, do hereby proclaim May 23rd through 30th, 2022 as National Beach Safety Week in Emerald Isle, and urge all residents using our beaches to enjoy themselves at the beach this year while taking appropriate measures to protect themselves and their children. Proclaim this 10th day of May 2022. I thank you all for what you do. Thank you. All right, item number 11. What? Yes, I'm sorry.
We have a beach safety presentation to give still.
I apologize, I jumped the gun just a little bit there. Almost accidentally
come on
left you
now.
off the hook.
Really, though, we can go to the next item. Just wanted to give a brief recap where we ended the last season and the things that we're doing for this upcoming season, summer season 2022. Within the Ocean Rescue Division, changes that you'll see, we went from additional beachfront safety flags of a number of 25 to 30 along the beach strand. This is to be shown from the water's edge. If you go to the water's edge, you turn around, you look left or right or east or west, you should be able to see a beach safety flag in either direction. We adjusted some of those change stop times. I will say one of the gentlemen that helped me focus in on that, excellent job appointing him for the seat, Commissioner Normile, in that data dive. So our guards will actually start rolling out to the beach strand at 10:30 to better address some of those incidents that we're seeing along the water. We are looking to add a second shift of lifeguards. That second shift of lifeguards would come in at noon time and work until 8 o'clock, essentially coming off the beach strand at 7:30. We had some data that showed we were getting some evening water rescue incidents. And to try to address that better with a quicker coverage, the fire department has always took up those after-hour calls, but to provide that better coverage in those hotspot areas, we are looking to at least have 1 to 2 guards out on the beach strand for those after-hour incidents. Lightning detection units will be available in our east and west towers, along with our lifeguard supervisor on the beach strand. And a continued targeting of education of our transient population. Something that we struggle with. I do want to thank the community for your efforts when you're out on the beach strand. You do a great job. Want to make sure it shows of letting these visitors coming to our area be made aware of our beach safety flags and what to look for along the beach strand. The 2021 summer season, we had a total of 75 water rescue calls, 4,187 warm swimmer checks, 698 welfare checks, and a total of 10,180 public education encounters. So our guards not only will do one-on-one education, you may see them go by and use those public address systems. One of the things that we were able to put in the new Jeep Wranglers that we've had for the past couple seasons. After hours data analysis, where we were targeting that second shift, 59 incidents in 2019, 42 in 2020, and 13 in 2021. One of the big strides in this off-season was the cross-training of FTEs. Just want to point out, those FTEs are full-time employees who hold roles in other departments within the town in regards to EMS, police, and fire. Lindsay Lewis with EMS, the police department, Tucker Robinson recently has gotten on board, and he is going to begin his training this week as well. In the fire department, Kyle Scantlin, Chris Kaiser, Austin Antonori, Jason Reif, and Nick Blunt. Junior guards, I will say it's a pleasure being able to have junior guard camp. And as of this year, we have 3 sessions. All 3 of those sessions have been filled, and there is a waiting list established for those junior guard sessions if something comes available. In a new effort this summer season, targeting the transient population, we're looking to have half-page flyers on pizza boxes, donuts, to-go orders, I believe, and also the image on your right, you'll see on coffee cups. What else have we targeted, Anna? A lot of businesses. So see that as an effort to try to get the transient population to recognize what the beach warning flags are and also target them to go to our safety page on the town's website. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. All right, now you're off the hook. We appreciate you and everything you do, Billy, on your team. Thank you, sir. All right, item number 11, I'll invite up Town Manager Matt Zapp for a special employee recognition.
Thank you, Mayor. Today is one of those rare occasions when you get to see a consistent and loyal town employee who is more than just a member of our team, but is a member of our family. And we have the privilege tonight to honor and recognize none other than Chief Bill Walker, who has been with us in a single position in a single department and celebrated his 35th anniversary dedicating and sacrificing for the town of Emerald Isle. So at this time, I'd ask my fire chief and good friend Bill Walker to join me at the podium. Mayor, would you come forward and help me present this plaque to Mr. Walker? And yes, so what we figured, Bill, we were just going to start roasting, and we have all your team members here. We're just going to hand the microphone off one at a time, but would you help me in presenting this plaque to Chief Bill Walker for 35 years of consistency, sacrifice, and dedication. And as you know, whether you're a firefighter at entry level or that fire chief, this position is a 24-hour, 365-day commitment. And Bill, from my heart, our family, to you, want you to know that we lift you and your team members up daily in prayer, and I thank you for continuing to come in, and I hope that after this fantastic plaque and award that you'll be back tomorrow. Here for us to give you a gift certificate. So now we're going to find out who your closest friends are in the room who want you to buy supper after this meeting. So I'm assuming it's the ones in blue standing by the wall. So congratulations. And we'd like you to say a few words if you want.
It's up to my wife who gets dinners.
Very well then. Well played. Would you like to say anything? Thank you so much. Again, join me in thanking Chief Walker. We've been blessed in Emerald Isle, Mayor and Board, and our whole community. We have seen long-standing commitments. We've seen the recent retirement of Alicia Sanderson with 30-plus years. We have Chief Walker coming at 35, and Assistant Chief Askew is quickly clipping up on his heels with 34-plus. So that's a testament to who we are and what we do and their continued dedication. So we want to thank each and every one of those first responders that were here tonight with us.
I agree very much a testament to who we are and what we do, and a testament to the caliber of people that we have around us. It's unparalleled. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Zapp will remain at the podium for the introduction of some new town employees.
Yes, sir. I believe that we're going to have a blend of both in-person and virtual tonight. So we're going to go swiftly. Jeff, if you're with us, you want to come forward. So we want to introduce tonight and welcome Jeff Hall, who's come on board with us as our Assistant Town Planner on our Planning Inspections Department. We're not necessarily going to put you on the spot, but we would more than invite you to say a few words if you'd like.
That's fine with me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, man. I've met some of you guys before. Good to get in front of all of you. Looking forward to putting some of my technical knowledge to work here for Emerald Isle. Get to know you guys and get to know the direction that you're sending the town in. So that's all I got.
Would you share with us your technical background?
My technical background, okay, so I've got a bachelor's degree in agronomy, turf sciences. Started my career with Town of Cary in Public Works, so have kind of a background on municipal water systems, municipal sewer systems. And I spent the last 7 years with the stormwater department for Town of Cary. So running large-scale development projects, overseeing grading, erosion, sediment control, overseeing buffer impacts, landscape requirements, all kind of stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's what we need.
Glad to be here. Thank you. Welcome.
So as a local note, Jeff was commuting from Newport to the town of Cary. So if anyone needs a ride on the I-40 corridor, I think his vehicle is autopilot there and back. And we're glad that he has the difficult, very short commute now to Emerald Isle. So we're very welcoming of him and look forward to his team and his efforts in planning. So thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yes, welcome. You're next to a virtual, right? PDs are virtual? Yes. Okay. So in the police department, our next introduction is going to be for Mark Vesley. Pictures? Oh, click it up. Thanks. So Mark Vesley is with us. He is coming to us as a retired Marine, and Mark's going to be joining us in our permitting side of the house. So we congratulate Chief Panzarella on an exceptional hire here in Mark Vesley, who not only had a full career as a Marine, but is a local person in the Swansboro area. And so we have a fantastic team member joining us. So if you come to get your golf cart permit, your beach driving permit, your parking permit, you'll see this smiling face in Mr. Vesley up front. And the next individual is Brian Vidal. So Brian and Mark are now going to be working side by side. Brian is also a permit tech and or records clerk helping us in the PD. So if I'm not mistaken, Chief, Brian comes to us as a retired state trooper with the state of Pennsylvania, correct? That's correct. So we have some extremely experienced and seasoned veterans coming on board to help us in the PD. So we'd like to welcome both Mark and Brian to join us in that department. And then Derek Suggs is coming as the PD as well, so he is a new full-time hire, is that correct? Yeah, making verifications here. And then next is Stephen Ferguson in Public Works. You'll see Stephen working all across the community, and he will be helping us. He's our most recent addition in a full-time endeavor to the Public Works team. And then Ryan Graham is our new paramedic in EMS, and Ryan came to us is a full-time paramedic and is fully cross-trained, so we're very thankful to have Ryan here, and I believe Ryan is also duly trained as a firefighter in addition to being both a paramedic. And then most recently, if he wants to step out from the IT room, Mr. Greg Hayes is here with us. Greg is our, Greg came on multiple ways. Greg was helping us. If you've attended at the community center or been over to the Parks and Recreation, you may have seen Greg over the last year. Greg also had formal IT skills, and we were able to have Greg come in immediately following the loss of our good friend when Paul passed away, Mr. Paul Cheshire. So Greg was helping us in that temporary capacity and had exhibited so many fantastic skills that Greg will be joining us full-time effective June 1st as both assisting in IT and then also helping us in project management and categorical assistance in our FEMA 428 liaison. And he'll be housed with us over at the primary main administration building. He'll be helping us in the meetings at night broadcasting. And if anyone can't program their VCR that flashes, we now have identified that goes to Greg. So all things IT, we want to join and thank Greg for coming on board as well.
All right, that covers all of our new employees, correct, Matt? All right, item number 13, I'd like to invite Planning Director Josh Edmondson up to discuss the Watson Family Assets LLC seasonal paid parking site plan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anna, can you, there it is right there. So we have the site plan up on the screen for you guys tonight. The request was submitted by Watson Family Assets LLC. They are interested in providing a seasonal parking area there on the corner of Islander, Emerald, and Reed, the northwest corner there. The property is zoned Village West. Currently, you have the ice machine there, shrimp stand. There's some asphalt parking and grass parking area. And actually, this parcel is separate from the ice stand and shrimp stand parcel. It's about, this parcel is about 29,000 to 30,000 square feet. It will be for seasonal use only, and it will be located on the existing grass surface. If you remember last month, I believe, we amended the ordinance for seasonal parking facilities to be allowed to utilize a grass parking surface. The plan is to provide 75 spaces. ADA compliant parking will be located on existing asphalt surface adjacent to this parking area. There will be 2 spaces provided there for ADA compliant parking. The stall widths and lengths all meet our minimum ordinance requirements of 9 by 19. The 2-way traffic drive aisle width of 24 feet, as you can see on the site plan. The minimum vegetative buffer along Emerald Drive is 5 feet, and as you can see, they're proposing a 10-foot vegetative buffer. They also have a 5-foot vegetative buffer along the western property line and a 10-foot vegetative buffer along the southern property line. And you can see there, we had some concerns, or the planning board had some concerns about maintenance. So they've added some additional notes there to address potential maintenance due to rutting, time frame to get that done, and I'll discuss that in a minute. They were exempt from stormwater requirements as nothing really was added or changed. Summit Engineering and John Freshwater discussed the project, and it did not require any stormwater engineering to be submitted. And actually, the landscape buffering as is planned should handle any potential runoff that you may get during a, an average or heavier rain event. The planning board did hear see this request at their April 22nd meeting. They did have a few recommendations which have been addressed for you guys tonight. They were concerned about safety, and they have added signage to direct traffic and also caution drivers about pedestrians. We added additional maintenance notes to the landscaping plan, landscaping requirements, basically to ensure that the vegetation was properly pruned so that all the drive aisle widths would remain at that 24-foot, which is pretty important when you have two-way traffic. Especially on the, we'll call it west end of the property, making that turn could get kind of tight if the vegetation wasn't properly maintained. So that note was added. And then we added a note to include 5 days to stabilize after ruts or any erosion may occur on the site. The planning board recommended to you guys approval with those revisions. Those revisions were added. Staff, we reviewed the site plan initially and with the revisions, and all the minimum standards have been met. I'm happy to discuss any questions you may have. I have no doubt that this will be a well-maintained, exceptionally looking facility. We all know the Watsons do just an excellent job of maintaining their property, so I have no doubt this will be any different. Yeah, with that, I'll take any questions or if you have any comments.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I feel like it's personally going to be a big asset to the town of Emerald Isle, especially with our seasonal parking.
Hold it down for a second.
Yeah, there you go. It's tricky.
Challenge today.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
I agree with Josh's comments. I think anything Ronnie Watson's done in the town has always been very beautiful and well-maintained, and I do think it will be an asset to the town. I would encourage us to keep our eye on that western access, as it will bring more traffic to that access and likely more maintenance and maybe a need to work more on that space, but it'll be a great thing for the town.
Thank you, Jamie. Any other comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Mayor, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the seasonal paid parking site plan submitted by Watson Family Assets LLC at the intersection of Islander and Reed Drive.
Thank you, Commissioner Finch. The motion is on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. All right, item number 14 will be recognition of Josh Edmondson, Planning Director. Mr. Zapp?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, I have the difficult job tonight of delivering the news that Josh Edmondson has accepted a position elsewhere and that his last day with the town of Emerald Isle will be the end of May. Josh has been a very integral part of not just our internal team, but very active in the community, both as a resident, as a town department head, as the person that would come out and meet with much of the development that was occurring in the community. So it's a bittersweet opportunity for us. We want to thank Josh as he celebrated his 7th anniversary this month. He was also noticing us that unfortunately his end of his tenure would be here. So we felt it would be appropriate, Mayor, if you could address Josh's exceptionalism, his character, and his dedication to the town of Emerald Isle in the form of a proclamation this evening.
Absolutely. Josh, would you join me, please? And Matt, since you've had the pleasure of being in the trenches with Josh and spending so much time together, working and figuring all this stuff out, I'd like for you to join us as well. This proclamation is in recognition of Planning Director Josh Edmondson. Whereas Planning Director Josh Edmondson has faithfully served the citizens of Emerald Isle since April 2015, successfully negotiating many intricate and exciting projects that have added tremendous value and brought great vitality to our community. And whereas Planning Director Josh Edmondson's leadership has seen the town through numerous large tasks over the year and being committed to preserving and enhancing our community to be enjoyed by all. And whereas it is Planning Director Josh Edmondson's talents that have served the town of Emerald Isle so well over the years through unprecedented growth. Whereas the Town of Emerald Isle Mayor, Board of Commissioners, and staff wish to recognize Planning Director Josh Edmondson for his significant achievements and especially express our great appreciation for his tireless work over the last 7 years. Now, therefore, I, Jason Holland, Mayor of Emerald Isle, on behalf of the Town of Emerald Isle Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize the contributions of our Planning Director, Josh Edmondson, that have benefited the Town of Emerald Isle, presented this 10th day of May, 2022. Thank you, Josh, for all you've done, sir. All right, item number 15 will be our fiscal year 2022-2023 recommended budget presentation. Mr. Zapp.
Thank you, Mayor. Board, for all the input that has gone into this presentation that will be forward to tonight. I would be remiss if I didn't begin with thanking every single department member, every single department head, and all those that have contributed to the compilation of tonight's presentation. And it would be virtually impossible to pull this monumental task together without the extreme professionalism, dedication, and care of Laura Rochford. So we want to just take an opportunity to thank her for her hard work in getting us to this point. And as the saying goes, sometimes the behind-the-scenes work is where the real endeavor is. So Laura has spent many days and many long evenings helping us get to this point, and it has allowed me the chance and opportunity to present to you what I believe is an extremely important piece of information, and is your 2022-2023 fiscal year recommended budget. So what we have tonight to bring forward is a balanced draft budget, and we're pleased to share that with you. This has been developed to meet the goals set forward by this board, and for the community's edification, the board had monumental tasks occurring post-COVID, and as a result of the COVID pandemic, and as a result of the $48 million recent beach nourishment project, which was coming on the heels of Hurricane Florence, there were in-troughs of money, opportunities for grants. And so in addition to just this budget process that you're going to see today, we want to let you know that a tremendous amount of work has gone into the forward-thinking, planning, and aversion of increase of taxes, specifically with $9.8 million of FEMA funds available to us and $1.2 million of ARPA or COVID-19 relief funds. So as we talk about this budget, there has been a dramatic spike, obviously, in inflation. Costs have risen. The labor market is difficult. But we were able to put together a budget that is only going to see a potential rise in 1 cent in property tax. And those diversions are coming from that dedicated work and the opportunities for all the grants that have been secured. So in the last 36 months, we're tickling closer to a $14+ million opportunity in outside non-tax relatable funds, and that's extremely important. So as we talk about this, our team came forward. This board met in August of 2021 to figure out the best way to move forward with the $9.8 million in FEMA funds and the near $1.2 million in ARPA funds. We came back together in January of 2022 and spent 8+ hours in this room talking about the goals, setting the goals for Emerald Isle for 22, 23, and 24. So we have a roadmap, a fiscal roadmap that gets us a 36-month outlook. So the budget that you're about to see tonight meets those goals that were previously set. It oftentimes either maintains or encourages us to improve upon the high standards of service delivery that Emerald Isle has become accustomed and noted for. And we most focused on where we could cut, where we could enhance, and where we could optimize. And we have done that in this entire process to present to you a balanced budget, which brings forward a recommendation of a 16.5 cent tax rate, which is 1 cent greater than the previous fiscal year, but helps us offset and overcome a year-over-year 9% plus consumer price index adjustment. A consideration and a minor solid waste fee is also in this budget, where we have been providing services at $265 per year, which is 2 times trash collection, 1 time recycling, and then yard debris collection 5 days a week. That is a proposed increase of only 84 cents per month or $10 per year. The primary goals in our CAP plan include the following: continued enhancement of beach safety, actions and staffing, and the staffing moves in beach safety have been dramatic. We have brought lifeguards on earlier in the year. Lifeguards are now in position as early as April, and lifeguards stay through September. In addition to that, we noticed that during the presentation that Ocean Rescue Matthias just shared, there were after-hour incidents. So you'll now see lifeguards on the beach after 5:00 p.m. throughout the majority and peak periods. So we're on the Strand longer, we're coming on earlier, and we're staying through the shoulder end of the season. And that had a cost impact, and we worked through that to make sure we had funding in the budget. Item number 2, we're working on an emergency services task force that has been compiled for nearly a year, determining with the growth and the numbers that were so eloquently shared earlier, how are we providing fire services, EMS services, and meeting those demands, not just during the peak season, but now we're seeing that those demands are peaked out all year long. So we're working on an emergency services task force for future planning of fire and EMS. We also have to unfortunately prepare for the retirement of Public Works Director Artie Dunn. With nearly 32 years of service, Artie does anticipate that his last day would be near or around the 1st of October. And Chief Walker, after 35 years of service, is now predicting that he will work through his 36th year and potentially retire as early as May 2023. Assistant Chief Askew was also here. Again, he will clip off his 35th year of service in June of next year. So we are preparing for Public Works, Fire Chief, and Assistant Fire Chief's retirements and making sure that we have an ascension plan and enough resources in the budget for those three fine gentlemen. Also, there's a salary increase in consideration with town employees at a near 7.8% COLA, and that COLA was derived from the year-over-year, January to January Southeast Consumer Price Index. And we also wish to maintain a very competitive benefits package. So on behalf of every single staff member here, want to let you know that our medical, dental, vision plans, and contribution to our retirement are extremely important and very highly valued, and we wish to thank you for that in the continuation of those plans. But fortunately, due to our census data and our internal management practices, those numbers have remained flat. So that's a major savings when you're seeing others with double-digit growth in those benefits packages. Continuing on, the recommended budget at total is $12.7 million. The general fund is $12.2 million. And again, we were able to get to this balanced budget with a minor adjustment of 1 cent. We all know that any adjustment in tax rate is important, but we wanted to maintain or trim it as small as possible. So what we are proposing tonight is a total combined 16.5 cent tax rate with 15.5 cents dedicated to general services. 1 cent of that general tax will still go to the Beach Nourishment Fund, and as well as the 4 cent district tax. So 15.5 cents to general services, 1 penny to beach nourishment. Now, Emerald Isle had been vacillating between the second and third lowest of the beach communities, and we are currently and look to be the second lowest taxed beach community out of the 21, so we're very proud of that fact. In addition, the total general fund property tax value would propose to collect nearly $5.2 or $5.17 million. Now here is the numbers, the breakdown of how does it impact me? What does the average homeowner see and how much might it cost him or her for the exceptional level of service that we are providing? So the average home in Emerald Isle on the current value is very near $400,000 or $399,908 to be more exact. If we were to leverage that 16.5 cent tax rate, their total bill for the year with their taxes and their solid waste fees included would be rated at $935. That's $660 in tax and $275 in solid waste fees. It's an extremely competitive and very rewarding amount of investment for the return that we're receiving. Now, the sales tax revenue is continued to be on the same model, projected at $2.69 million, and we've seen that sales tax collections are obviously up with the increased visitation all across Carteret County and specifically on our section of the boat banks. Continuing on, specifically to future Beach Nourishment Fund, our Beach Nourishment Fund looks to collect $628,000 in this next budget cycle. That would be dedicated and provided in a special fund only for beach nourishment and future nourishment activities. No change in the Beach Nourishment Special District tax rate of 4 cents. And again, with 1 penny of that 16.5 being dedicated to nourishment. At this time, I'd like to pause and say, as a general report, that we recently spent $246,000 out of our nourishment fund to plant nearly 300,000 native beach plants on the dunes to protect the dunes and all the property that abut that area. So that was just completed less than a month ago. So that's where we utilize our dollars local and to protect not only the beach, but the dunes and also the properties that adjoin. Are there any questions about the Beach Nourishment Fund or where we're planning to go in this next cycle with no changes? The general fund balance is often a measure of how we're doing fiscally. Fund balance can also be translated into, in the personal amount, as your savings account. This is the amount of money held in reserve. And the state of North Carolina encourages that you maintain 25% or greater so that you could operate for 90 days or 3 months if no collections came in. So in this particular case, Emerald Isle projects $3.5 million would be at our conclusion of our fiscal cycle, June 30th, which would provide us nearly 28% of the proposed 22-23 recommended budget. So that is an increase to our reserve account and an increase on the percentage. Moving on, another item that's important is where are we with our EMS service fees? This is the collection for services rendered, and that is at approximately $235,000 proposed revenue, or 1/4 of the EMS budget, which means that the other 3/4 would be provided for out of the tax base and supported by local dollars. Golf cart permits. The reason we have a military veteran with combat experience and now a retired state trooper is because there's so many golf cart permits in demand. And so I say that in jest, and we know it's a great program, and we thank all those that are involved in our golf cart advisory committee, all those on our staff that help make that program great. And for each person that purchases that golf cart permit, we'd like to say thank you. We have seen an upward trend in permit acquisition, which is now targeted or aimed to collect nearly $120,000. Out of that $25,000 is dedicated to the annual improvement and maintenance of the Golf Cart Advisory Committee for their discretion to encourage continued enhancements to the program. The balance is used in the policing, enforcing, and the offset of the actual program. And pictured here is one of the areas that the Golf Cart Advisory Committee has recently improved. You'll find that beach access, as the resident spoke of earlier today, is critical, whether you live on the sound side and you're trying to get over, that golf carts are being used as a transportation mode of method, and we're trying to enhance those parking areas, and that's where the $25,000 of dedicated funds would continue to go. Here's where inflation and a handful of jokes will come into this slide. So the 16.5-cent tax rate is an extreme value, and it would be that an average property owner would pay approximately $56 per month for all the services that they're receiving from the town of Emerald Isle in general tax dollars. That, I'm assuming, is substantially less than most Spectrum cable bills, most smartphone bills. If you're going to Starbucks, which used to be called $5, which is now $6, which is now $7, it should be less if you're a daily cup of coffee. Dinner for two at a moderately priced restaurant, movie night, and our slide last year used to say for a full tank of fuel. We've had to adjust that now to say a half a tank of fuel. So we do apologize for those of you that are still fueling up, but we wanted to make sure that our burden to you is as least amount as possible. So you would see that that average change would be at $56 per property owner. Continuing on, our budget continues with 75 full-time employees doing the work all across the community, all 365 days. We're proposing no new positions this year, and we're going to continue to maintain our staff load. We are planning for those key retirements in public works, fire, assistant fire. The hiring of a new planning director is already underway, and a reassignment within the planning department so that we can continue to have high levels of service and meet all the demands and needs and the changes of the community. Again, speaking of those amazingly secured tax dollars or non-tax dollars from 2001 to 2022, Emerald Isle has been nothing but blessed, to the tune of $84 million in grants and outside funding sources. There's many people in this room that have helped. These are phone calls to the right agencies. These are putting the grants together. They're searching them out. So that's $84 million in benefit that we all get to enjoy that didn't come from our pockets. And we need to thank those legislators, those decision makers, and those that are advocating on our behalf at levels at the state and at the federal. So if you can continue to do that, we do appreciate it. And we need to continue that as we go forward. But $84 million in nearly the last 2 decades. And continuing on, your budget calendar tonight is May the 10th. This is your draft budget presentation. This is the first presentation to the community. You can come in, stop by our office. You can find this information online. You can make an appointment. We can walk through any of the decision-making positions, share any of the granular detail with you. The board also has slated a potential workshop if there's anything of controversy or concern that you would like to dig deeper into. If there's not in the proposed budget, you can always cancel May 17th. The next process step for the state of North Carolina in general best management practice is for us to advertise our budget public hearing, and that would be advertised well in advance of June 14th. And that if there is opportunity that the public would like to come in and comment over the next 30 days, they can do so at the board meeting on Tuesday, June 14th. And without any hesitation or concerns, if there's no issues at that point, we could theoretically adopt our budget, meet the state guideline, and be prepared for our new fiscal year, July 1. Now, other meetings can be added or deleted as needed, and this is your final and recommended budget from our office to you in preparation to meet your goals and exceed those expectations in 22 and 23. The last slide is more pictorial in nature. It might be a little bit hard to read from the audience, but you can see where the breakout goes, where these general fund expenditures are indicated. So just some highlights if you want to see. The lighter blue section at the bottom, that 20% of our revenues, nearly 20.5%, go to law enforcement, 18% go to fire, and you see other large sections that 14, almost 15% goes to solid waste expenditures. And we want to identify that those three areas are also our largest users of fuel. So we had a very difficult proposition to try to determine how many gallons would be used and what that dollar amount may be. So we believe that with all the movement that you'll see, police, fire, EMS, and solid waste, that we've put our best propositions forward. They're not guesses, they're very well calculated. But if anyone in the room knows exactly what a gallon of diesel will be over the next 12 months or gasoline, please stick around. We would want that insider info, as those are our really hard numbers to hit. But this pictorial, Mayor and Board, shows you where all of those hard-earned tax dollars that we collect go to so that you would get your resource return on that investment. And that will do it. I'm glad to take any questions that you have, or we can do deep dives. Laura and I are prepared to help speak to this amount and answer any questions that may arise.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you for everything that you've done in preparation for this recommended budget, and thank you, Laura. It's mind-boggling to imagine the hours and work that goes into coming up with this balanced budget. I thank you, and I'll ask the board, do they have any questions or comments for Matt?
Just one comment.
Yes, sir.
For our regular attendees, if you remember the last 3 or 4 years, our neighboring towns have had increase after increase, and our staff and Laura have managed for us to be increase free. And this is great. This is great. And how you kept it to 1 penny, I don't know. Your magic wand didn't get broken. It just got bent just a little bit. But thank you for all your efforts.
And to speak to Commissioner Messer's question of how did we hold it at 1 cent despite a 9+%, nearly headed to 10% inflationary rate, it's simply because this budget reflects no capital costs, and we were able to divert all those capital expenses and expenditures either to grant systems or other creative opportunities. And I would like to thank Commissioner Messer and I had worked on a program a little over 30 months ago with our rental and fleet lease situation. And we had a plan 30 months ago that we were going to try to lease some vehicles from Enterprise, and it helped us defease around $240,000 in the first year of capital expense. And the second year, it helped us defease around $145,000. And here we are this year, and I want to report back that we are set to schedule to release one of our first Tahoes that was rented or leased by the police department. And we anticipate getting more back off of that rental vehicle than we had spent with Enterprise during the 30-month period. Now, we thought we had a great plan, but we didn't know that that used cars were going to go up by 27 to 30%. So you can attribute that great move to Commissioner Messer's insight, so he saw it. But the bottom line is all the police vehicles, public works vehicles, parks vehicles that you've seen moving around the community that are leased are now up for resale at near 36 months usage. They're bringing back more money than we paid for them. So it was a positive investment, or revenue neutral at worst. And then second, we took our maintenance budget to near zero because when you took a 7 or 8-year-old vehicle out of fleet and you put a new vehicle in fleet, you increased the employee morale, you gave them a better, safer piece of equipment, our insurance rates were controlled, and then on the resale of that unit, we're getting more than we invested. So I may never be able to say this again in my career, haven't seen it before, but well played. That was a great move, so we thank you for that one, Commissioner Messer, but that was part of the uniqueness of the dynamic. So that's those two items, the grants for the capitals and then this fantastic lease program have helped a lot.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I just have a comment. It sort of ties on to something that I said in maybe the last couple of board meetings. One, appreciate all of the hard work. And there's a lot more detail on this that Matt and Laura have both provided this board. It took me 2 days to go through it all, so I appreciate that. But seeing the data in different ways really helps to understand. But I'll out myself a little bit here. I had a meeting with Matt and Laura to review this, and when we talked about the COLA increase for the town employees, I said, is this gonna really do it? Because in order to keep our talent and to attract new talent, we have high-level positions that are retiring, we're going to need to be competitive. And we're going to need to make sure that we get the right people in the right seats and that we experience the same level of high talent that we've had for the last 35 years. So I appreciate you working on this. Nice work.
Thank you, Jamie. Any other comments or questions for the board?
On one of the pages that come out again a little bit, it just says, Emerald Isle is now the second lowest of 21 North Carolina oceanfront municipalities. That's huge. I mean, that's you think about all the beach towns all up and down the state of North Carolina, and we're the second lowest. So that's pretty impressive. And then you look at all the services and stuff we got. I mean, that should be in bold letters right there and highlighted tremendously, that to be able to hang on to that. And Laura and Matt and the rest of the town staff, it is hard to believe all the behind the scenes stuff you see and all the stuff we get as citizens, and still to be the second lowest is pretty impressive. So congratulations and thanks for taking care of all of us as citizens. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any others? All right, thank you, Matt and Laura again. Matt, I'll ask that you switch gears. Item number 16 on our agenda is the FEMA 428 update.
So we have 3 items in play, if you will. One is our drainage project, the second is our FEMA dollars, and the third is our ARPA dollars. So what we want to do is let everyone know that during Hurricane Florence in 2018, Emerald Isle had a massive amount of impact. And when FEMA came in, the town staff did an exceptional job of identifying the infrastructure issues, applying for grant dollars, and we took a fully funded projects and we took a singular payer option, which meant that, for example, we were repairing soundside piers, or we were repairing oceanfront walkways, whatever was damaged. This building, for example, when this building was damaged and the roof needed repaired, we took a flat dollar amount. It was our responsibility to then go out, competitively bid those, and have the projects fixed. If there was any overages where we had to pay more, there would have been no second swing at the ball, no opportunity to go back to FEMA for more money. But the rub would have been, the opportunity was, if you came in under and you had a savings, then you could reapply to reuse those savings. So we took that new formula that FEMA was offering. So that's how the town of Emerald Isle staff, after September of 18, so quickly bounced back and made repairs all across the community. In that first tranche of money, which is now considered as Project 02917 drainage, we were able to save nearly $535,000. So when we saved those dollars over all those maintenance projects, we had to identify as a group, where would we want to reinvest those? Well, one of, if not the highest priority, was storm drainage reinvestment. So this FEMA 428 project is currently in the queue. We applied for these dollars, and it took nearly a year for the application to get through review. This just in, our federal government doesn't always work fast. And I know it might be a shock to some in the room, but we have found a way to work these projects on nearly a snail's pace at 12 months. But we do appreciate all that they do for us, and they put us through check balances and check balances all the way through. The bottom line is now you see this project zone, which is Cedar Street, the Lee Avenue culvert replacement, and drainage on East Reed Drive, has a funding amount of $535,000. That project is currently in design with Moffitt and Nickel, and when it goes out for bid, the first $535,000 of that reinvestment will be from FEMA, not from the town of Emerald Isle. So we're pleased to see that as the first step. The second step was a little bit bigger. This was all the beach nourishment money. So when we were able to come forward after the beach was negatively impacted from Hurricane Florence in 2018, the entire Bogue Banks worked together. We want to thank the Beach Commission, Greg Rudolph, the entire team that volunteers on the Beach Commission to help put together a plan that allowed us to secure and go after FEMA dollars immediately. In addition to that, from Atlantic Beach, Indian Beach, Pine Knoll Shores, and all the way over to EI, we worked together on that massive amount of renourishment. And all of us that were impacted in 19, 20, and 21, there was a 3-year process. Emerald Isle's portion was near $48 to $49 million of nourishment. But because we bid the projects in unison, we had single mobilizations, and we leveraged our economy of scale, our total project came in under budget to the sound of $9.8 million. With that amount of savings, we have now created a list, which is in front of each board member. You'll have a printed copy. It's the larger font, if you will. You only have to hold it out at arm's length, and you may not need your Seymours on. But this list has 17 critical projects in 3 different areas. One is stormwater and drainage repairs, totaling $1.48 million. Emergency equipment and vehicles, which totals $3.5 million. And those purchases in that vehicles, emergency, and equipment, those diversions are the ones not included in your local taxes. So we have been able to identify dual band radios, 2 new ambulances, 2 new fire engines, jet ski replacements, dump trucks, and tractors that would normally be paid for in the tax base. We have an application pending for $3.48 million of rolling apparatus that will provide safety and security to every one of us without local tax dollars having to pay for it. So that was a fantastic move. The last section is resilient structures and improved materials, which is another $4.8 million. That would be placing generators permanently up and down all of our Coast Guard road areas and other areas where pump stations are required, so that in the event, because we know it's not if, it's usually going to be when, in the event that the next natural disaster comes our way, we want those automatic generators to fire up, to turn those pumps on, even if we can't physically get there. And that $500,000 investment will protect over, I forget our total number of valuation on that, and it's in our narrative. We calculated how many homes, how many dollars, and how many potential saved lives, and that's $500,000 of just generator standby for our pumps. Then we go out to replace 10 beach walkways. This is really critical. There are 90-plus public accesses on the Atlantic Ocean side, and all of those walkways are aging. We normally have a walkway age of up to 20 years. Each budget cycle, we would prepare to replace 3. Those were on average $30,000. Has anyone invested in gold, silver, or 2x4s in the last few years, because wood prices are now equitable to all your cryptocurrency, and a beach access walkway went from $30,000 to replace? The current estimate is $82,000. We have 10 beach accesses that need immediate repairs. That's $825,000. Again, we've applied for those dollars. We're also working on a community-wide debris and site removal plan, 3-phase power to put our power lines underground to these critical infrastructures, pump station locations, and also $3 million request to rebuild Fire Station 2 on the east end to provide better service, year-round service, and the enhancements and growth in the community. All those total $9,827,000 that have been approved, designed, looked at, and applied for through FEMA by this team, and now we're awaiting each of these approvals. So as these approvals come in, projects 1 through 17 would be tackled over the course of the next 0 to 36 months. So that's where your FEMA 428 reinvestment dollars are headed. ARPA, which stands for the American Recovery Plan Act, the ARPA or COVID-19 money, we have been a recipient of $1.1 million. Now, this is the list. You're either going to need your friend to hold it far, far, far away from you or magnify, but there is an unlimited amount of projects on this list, including some of the highlights such as building improvements at the police department for social distancing, down to the purchase of a Bad Elf GIS unit handheld in the planning department that helped expedite our processes and helped us better identify geographic locations and mapping. You would have seen all kinds of great processes rolling out. We're making small investments for big dividends, all the way down through contributions, constructions, uplighting, which was recently completed at the bridge. So as you come over the island now from the mainland, you'll see that all the crepe myrtles are illuminated. All those projects that are happening are not local dollars. They are the ARPA reinvestment dollars. So we can't express enough to the board from a staff level, helping us prioritize these and putting the 5, 10, and even 20 and 25-year needs of Emerald Isle in its foresight to make sure that we can make these investments and use this money the most wisely possible. And that's, again, what helped us balance the budget. So we felt it was important to cover the buckets of money, the $500,000, the 9.8, and the north of 1 million here tonight. Does the board or anyone have any questions about the status of our applications, the amount of money that is moving through our office, and why we hired another full-time person to help us just track these dollars to make sure we're grant compliant and we can receive 100% of those proceeds that we've applied for?
First off, thank you, Matt.
Yeah, sure, it's a lot.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the board? Well, thank you very much, sir. A lot of work, a lot of info, and thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right, we will move to item number 17 is our comments from town clerk, attorney, and manager. Anna, any comments from you tonight?
No comments from my office.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stanley?
No comment.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir. I have 2 quick announcements for the public. One is that the Emerald Isle Open House is scheduled to come, and if I'm not mistaken, Miss Anna will correct me if I am, but Friday, May 20th. What we wanted to do was tonight, you saw the first opportunity for us to welcome back our staff, our summer team, our emergency service personnel in a public setting. And it's been over 2 years since we've been able to welcome people to certain locations. And so what we thought, nothing better than a Friday, nothing better than pancakes, and a chance for anyone that wants to come out and say hello and take a tour. And am I putting you on the spot? Mayor, are you going to help flip pancakes?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you're going to get a mayoral pancake, a managerial pancake, a police chief pancake. So you have not so famous cooks, but we think we can do a fine job. And we'd invite the community out at no cost to please join us on Friday, May 20th from 9 a.m. till 11. We'd ask that you make your way over to the community center at Parks and Recreations. We'll have plenty of pancakes, syrup individually wrapped, silver and plasticware, so you can make it either eat there or take it with you. And then if you want a tour, we're going to have staff members taking you on tours between the fire department, the public works department, the EMS department, the PD, and then making our way back. And it's just a way for you to see the inner options of what we're doing and meet and greet some of those faces and names that may have changed over the last 2 years, because we want to make sure you know who we are when we're coming to serve you, but we wanted to serve you in the form of carb loading, and so we hope that you would join us on Friday the 20th for a stack of pancakes. And the second item is important to our boaters. Want to let you know that the dredging project at the North Carolina Wildlife Ramp began yesterday and is underway. It should take us a good 8 to 10 days to dredge just the exiting point of that North Carolina Wildlife boat ramp. Again, that boat ramp services Emerald Isle. It's not a town-owned property. I want to let you know that that $90,000 expenditure is funded by the Shallow Draft Grant in the state of North Carolina. We're just the stewards that are helping administer that. So you'll see that dredging work, but access to the boat ramp should remain open during that period. It just would be restricted to a single lane. So we're proud to share that information for all of our local and visiting boaters.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have comments from our Board of Commissioners. I'll start with Commissioner Taylor.
Yeah, thanks for the crowd. It's nice seeing large group come out and be part of our meetings. It always makes it a lot nicer. Huge thank you to our reactivated Commissioner Normile back there for stepping back up to the plate again. I'll be happy to work along his side again for another couple of years here. I'm very excited about that. And also, congratulations again to 35 years of service. There's not many people that you run across that stay in one place for 35 years. So to Chief Walker, thanks for his dedication. It's amazing to have somebody like that for our town. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Finch.
I'd like to just thank all the new employees that have come to Emerald Isle. We appreciate you and hope we all can grow old together. Josh, to you, I wish you the best of everything, and your new adventures and the next phase in your life. And Jim Normile, welcome back. And to the town of Emerald Isle, all of you guys have done an amazing job, whether it's through the budget, whatever. Thank you for everything that you do. Emerald Isle is a wonderful place because of everyone that works together.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner. Yes, sir.
Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention earlier when I spoke, some of us remember the point when the water was rushing up under the houses, and if it hadn't been sandbagged, it would have probably broken through and flooded the whole point area. And I would suggest to you that our beach commission does not need any new direction. And I would like to thank Tom Rule for sticking it out and serving on the beach commission. And we have just recently appointed Jason, so we've got some representation there. And thank you both.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Vogel.
All right.
Oh, welcome back, Jim. I forgot.
I too congratulate Bill on 35 years. I think the first time I met Bill, I was probably 16 years old, working at Michelangelo's and serving all those guys pizza a couple nights a week. Congratulations to him. Josh, I'm very excited for you and your family. I think whenever an employee wants to try out something in life or advance their career or take their family on a new lifestyle, I think that's just an exciting part of life. So congratulations to you. I wish you very well. Welcome back, Commissioner Normile. With great respect, I say I've kept your seat warm. And welcome to all the new employees. That was great. 7 employees over the last 30 days. That's not an easy thing to do, to pull off, to interview, hire, and onboard folks. So congratulations, and again, very well on budget.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll finish up with a big thank you, or a big welcome to our new employees. A big thank you to Josh Edmondson. Congratulations to Chief Walker. And the town as a whole, our administration, our staff, and our Board of Commissioners have still pretty new to this, and I've had another 30 days of being blown away by everything that it takes to make our town run as smoothly as it does. So I'm amazed and extremely grateful for you all. And again, welcome back, Jim. Thank you, Josh, and thank you all for what you do. Item number 19 would be our closed session, which we'll need a motion to go into.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Is there a motion on the floor to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.116 to discuss the terms of acquisition of real property?
Yes, so moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I would like to thank the public for being in attendance tonight. We are now in closed session.